The notice requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act for this meeting have been satisfied. A copy of the annual meeting notice was sent to the press, now be current, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, on the municipal website, and filed in the office of the municipal clerk. Would you please take a second to turn off electronic equipment as we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Would you call the roll, please?
Mayor Becker.
Here.
Commissioner Amadeo.
Here.
Commissioner Blumberg.
I am here.
We will go directly to department head reports. Ed, why don't we start with you?
Okay, the One South building is approaching completion. Not there yet. The elevator guys are working on it. Painters are finishing up touch-up. All the HVAC system now is working. We have a instructional seminar set up for next, I believe it's next Wednesday, for the light controller. So whoever's going to be there responsible for that will learn how to learn. There's 2 computerized light controllers. In addition, we have to get the instructions for setting the computerized thermostats. It's looking good out there. I just got an email from Bob Wilkinson. They should be installing the last 2 pieces on Monday. Once that's in, they can finish up the prosecutor's office, and we'll really be at the end at that point. So it's finally moving towards completion.
Hey, Ed, I have a quick question. Is there a way to test the heating system in the building before heating system? Have they jogged the boiler and all the?
We had the boiler operating last year because it had to provide for the fire department. However, well before we release anything or even sign off, we want the boiler certified, and then we'll have a test with city employees there on the operation of the boiler. But it was operating last year. It wasn't operating at peak because it only had to supply the fire department. Right. But it will be in operation.
So in the courtroom, do we have hot water coils, or do we have radiant, or do we have a combination?
At the courtroom, we have baseboard hot water.
Hot water.
Yeah, and then through various units through the building, we have hot water coils in the air handler.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sure. The gas company, we had a meeting with the gas company representatives and one of their contractors. They anticipate the contract 1, or contract A, which is, I believe, 5 or 7 pieces, services should be complete by the first week of October, and then within days of that point, they will start paving. We're going to have a meeting prior to the paving to try to minimize the inconvenience to the residents with how they're scheduling of streets and milling and paving. The second contract should be done the 3rd week of October, and what their goal is, and they feel it's attainable, is to have everything done before the new year, by the end of December, all the paving, everything. So we just pray for good weather, and we're in good shape. And on tonight's agenda, there is a resolution rejecting the bids for the road program. The bids came in well below our estimate. We're going out to bid again. We were able to add at least one more road and still be below what our projected cost for roads will be. So that's the reason we're doing this. We're able to get another road in. Bids are still good. Oil prices are low. So we may as well take advantage of it. And that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you, Ed. Lisa, get the mic back.
Good afternoon. Just two things I wanted to mention. First is just an explanation of the Resolution 180 that's on the agenda for tonight. All that is we've received another grant from the CDBG Division of Forestry for $3,000, and the resolution is simply to amend our budget to include that. So we'll have the revenue and the offsetting appropriation, so there's a zero net effect on this year's budget, and the funds will be used by the Sustainable Jersey Committee. The other thing I want to call to the Commissioner's attention, and I'm seeking your authorization to proceed with it. We were presented with a possible refunding opportunity of our 2011 bond issue, where we would be refunding $8,395,000 that are remaining on our bonds. They mature in the year 2028, and they are not callable until the year 2021. And they made a few assumptions based upon current rates. And after discussion with the financial advisors and our auditor, the best opportunity to refund this would be this year. They are proposing to go out and have a sale in November, and unless something dramatic changes with the rates over the next several weeks, we are anticipating an average annual savings from 2017 through 2028 of approximately $41,000 annually, which would decrease our future debt service payments. So all I need from you is authorization to proceed, and then the next step would be to add a form and sale resolution onto our October 6th agenda. I will contact our advisors and bond counsel to do so, and then we will have the sale. There will be no cost to the city this year. All professional fees and the professional costs come out of the refunding proceeds.
So the $41,000 projected savings takes into account the costs and the fees?
Yes, that's net.
Thank you, Lisa. Anything else?
No.
That's good by me. Thank you, Lisa.
Are you all in agreement then?
Just to add to that, the basis of that, so the public understands, is that we went out to bid in 2011, the interest rates were 5%, and if we can get interest rates at a little over 2%, that's where the savings comes in at this point. So
Good job.
that's the whole process.
Chief Wilson.
Everything's great in the police department, and it's a quiet week, and I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Rich?
I just want to call your attention to Resolution 173, which is on the agenda for later. And that resolution has to do with the pensions for the lifeguard pension fund. And this has been a long process for the last couple of years. We reestablished for the city a lifeguard pension committee. That lifeguard pension committee has actively been meeting over the last 2 years. As part of their process, they have engaged a consultant to ultimately do an actuarial study, which is important. We've been funding the lifeguard pension fund over the last 2 years a little bit through our annual budget. Money also comes into the fund from contributions made by lifeguards. However, once we get an actuarial study, we'll know what our obligations are in the future. Prior to doing the actuarial study, the consultant found that Margate had not received IRS approval since it was initially established, and that needs to be reviewed by the IRS every several years. So the pension plan has been revised to comply with presumably the IRS regulations, the current regulations. And what you would be doing is, by this resolution, is authorizing this revised plan to be sent to the IRS for their approval. None of the changes in this plan that we're asking you to approve as a result of our continuing talks with the pension committee that's been appointed, as well as internally by our finance director, and we had a meeting with the consultant, and Commissioner Amadeo represented the city as well at that meeting. And we can represent to you that none of these changes change the actual benefits that have always been in the lifeguard pension system. So there's no changes there. The only changes are the technical changes to comply with IRS regulations. Once we get an actuarial study, we'll know much more about the current plan, the benefits, and what the costs down the line might be. And at that time, we can evaluate the situation with knowledge. So Resolution 173, we recommend be adopted later tonight. Are there any questions at this point before you
I
adopt?
had none. Maureen? John?
No, I'm fine with it.
Everybody's fine.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Scott?
Governing body members, as you'll see, Resolution 176-2016 is the resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement with Atlantic Down Beach Associates. This is for a sliver of land owned at Rumson Avenue at the beach, where the property owner now wants to go forward and build a new home there, and he's going to replace the bulkhead. Technically, the bulkhead is on city property. By this agreement, the city will receive $20,000 plus all the construction costs will be assumed by the homeowner to build a brand new bulkhead, where currently it's a very dilapidated, actually a second dilapidated bulkhead there. So I know we've had a lot of discussion on this. It's part of our ongoing efforts to improve our bulkhead and storm protection system, and this is another good step forward. I would urge you to sign this, or to approve it. Do you have any other questions of me? I know there's been some articles in the paper regarding our ongoing efforts regarding drainage, and I think Rich Deeney, city administrator, has written some memos which are perfect the way it lays it out, and I just maybe I'll add a little bit to that. We still have ongoing discussions. We're not fighting with the DEP. We're just trying to get monetary contributions and or assistance to deal with what we feel may be ponding problems resulting from the sand dune system. As the public may or may not be aware, the dunes, the system will, bidding will be open, I believe it's October 8th. And most likely they'll start that shore protection, that $60 million plus project sometime this winter or early spring. So it's coming. That's it.
Johanna?
I have nothing to report.
Roger?
Thank you, Mayor. Planning board meeting next Thursday night. Other than that, we're still pretty darn busy. Thank you.
You're welcome. Jim?
Dovetail with that, building department's busy. We got 3 demos today. I think there's another 10 coming. That's all I report.
Thanks. Fred? Thank you, Fred. John?
I'm good, Mayor.
Maury?
I just have one thing. I want to take this opportunity to thank fellow Commissioner Amadeo for the extra effort that he put in getting that project done over at the Thai School. And, you know, it's a good thing, and it happened fast, and my understanding is that it happened successfully, so thank you. That's all I have. Sure.
Just getting our house in order. We had originally had a meeting scheduled at 5 o'clock, which we canceled because we all wanted to go welcome the wounded warrior that Longport is honoring. They've run into a problem. The plane is a couple hours late. So what we're going to do, and solicitor will explain to us, we will cancel the 6 o'clock meeting, and we will continue this meeting and do our business immediately following the workshop. Scott, would you explain
Well, yes, because of the plane delay and the desire of the governing body to meet these people at the schedule, what was it, at 5 o'clock, that's now off. So we'll just resume the workshop meeting, which has been duly publicized, and move forward and get city business done now rather than sit around for, an hour and a half with no agenda or anything to move forward. So, yeah, my recommendation would be, based on the fact that we've already noticed this meeting, we'll get our work done right now with the workshop going forward and cancel the 6 o'clock. And then I guess they'll give you time to go if you want to get up there, if that plane lands.
Thank you, Scott. At this point, we'll open for public comment, 3 minutes on anything that was talked about at this meeting.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. Following up on the remarks of our esteemed city solicitor, the DEP's allegations or assertions to the effect that the ponding somehow, 24 hours of it, won't do enormous damage, particularly to beach block properties and beachfront properties, is absolutely insane. And without those outflow pipes, I think we're only asking for severe trouble based upon the experiences of Sandy Storm and Ventnor, where the water was just blocked up, was not percolating within 24 hours whatsoever, and to have this persisting, I think, is crazy. I once again urge that in conjunction with Congressman Lobiondo, that there be some conferencing done to get these outflow pipes agreed upon. And while they're agreeing upon the outflow pipes, I would once again urge the city of Margate to proceed with a request for a master jetty between Margate and Longport, just as the solicitor had advocated a master jetty between Ventnor City and Margate City, which we were able to stop in a timely fashion. So once again, I think if need be, there should be an injunction against the dunes being erected unless and until they provide sufficient outflow pipes to prevent the ponding. 24 hours of ponding can do literally tens of millions of dollars in damage to property owners. And the master jetty, it's long overdue, solicitor. Let's put that same effort that you gave your dear friend, Mayor Kreischer, to getting that jetty erected. And let's erect it down by Mayor Russo's land. You know, it's kind of ironic, solicitor, that they're willing to put out good money for the groins down there, realizing that they'll save what's little left of the point down there. So they, in effect, tell you that the groins do work, and a master jetty would work even better. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Should we respond to that? Yeah.
Any other public comment?
Hi, Richard Miskowski from 9000 Winchester Avenue. I don't have any comments to make except that all the summer residents went home and were left alone. And looking back at the summer, it was a really excellent summer as far as I think the city is concerned. The streets were all clean. I've never seen curbs dirty with paper or anything. And thanks to the people who run the sweepers and all, I see them taking extra special things to keep it clean. And they're also the big man who runs the truck around and picks up trash. When a trash can was loaded, he would pick it up, put it in the back of his truck, and move on to another place. And I think some exceptional work in all the departments. The flowers were all nicely taken care of. There was not one dead pot on Ventnor Avenue. And it really is something that shows back on the city, that you're really taking care of everything. Now, I'm concerned always around the building here, since I'm a neighbor and you're my neighbor, and we're in a residential section. And the building is kept clean, all the grounds are covered very nicely, no one had mentioned anything to me about a complaint or anything. So I thank you for that. And the police department, always the police officers checking the building and so on. I think I live in the safest house in the city now. And they get out, walk around, see that the building is safe. A lot of people don't know this in the city. They don't see it. I'm out in the yard a lot of times, and I see what's going on. And the people, the workers are really exceptional. And department heads, I thank you for, instilling that spirit of cleanliness and everything and keeping the city clean. And all the department heads, and especially the mayor and the commissioners. So thank you for being a good neighbor. There are a number of new houses being built right around City Hall here. 2 new houses on there, the big house across the street there, that was sold. The sale sign is up because I guess a new house is in the building, going to be in the building plans. So the neighborhood is staying stable, which I didn't expect when you first moved in here. I thought and everyone else did, thought that our property values are going to go down because City Hall was here. But yet it doesn't mean anything because, as you can see, within 2 blocks all around here, there are new homes going up, and big homes. So again, thank you for at least keeping this place in order and being part of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Steve Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. Mr. Mayor, if I recall the last meeting, the police department was going to make photographs when we had the big storm, which never materialized in the way of rain. But was the police department able to get any photography of the percolating situation?
We have two albums of pictures, but they're not as good as we had hoped they might be. Their pictures are good, but they don't depict what ultimately we need more pictures to depict, and that because, as you said, we didn't have much rain in that storm, so we don't have as much backup. We didn't have as much backup water on that storm as we sometimes do, but we'll continue that effort.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dick. Any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mayor Becker?
Yes.
Commissioner Amadeo?
Yes.
Commissioner Blumberg?
Yes.
Hold 1 second.
No, you're not going to close the meeting.
Now we're just going to introduce ordinances.
We're going to go into the regular agenda.
We're now going to go right into the agenda of our originally scheduled